so many people that get out of prison, and there's so many people that have mental issues that's out here. They don't have the funds or the resources, or they don't care to try to help everybody.
Right.
You know, they help, but they don't help.
If you had 3 wishes, what would they be?
A home, my family back, and okay. Being okay.
If tomorrow your home suddenly vanished without warning or plan, leaving you only with the cold streets of North Carolina, how would you survive? With nearly 17,000 people currently living this harsh reality, the question isn't why homelessness exists, it's why we continue to let it persist. Today's video is a challenge. Stop turning away and start demanding real solutions. Temporary shelters and short-term aid are no longer enough. We need bold action, systemic change, and a collective commitment to human dignity. Watch the video, listen closely, and ask yourself, what are we truly willing to do to end homelessness in North Carolina? Because if we don't, this crisis will only deepen with time. If you find it meaningful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to explore the lands ahead with us. Homelessness statistics and facts. In 2024, the homelessness crisis continued to deepen, with official HUD data revealing approximately 11,600 people experiencing homelessness on any given night. A staggering 19% increase from the previous year. This sharp rise highlights a worsening epidemic that shows no signs of slowing down. Even more alarming is the surge in those living unsheltered on the streets, which has jumped by over 31%. Now surpassing 4,500 individuals forced to endure harsh conditions without any form of shelter. The ripple effects of this crisis stretch far beyond those directly impacted. Local healthcare systems are strained as more homeless individuals require urgent medical attention, while schools face challenges addressing the needs of children in unstable living situations. Public safety concerns grow as communities grapple with the economic and social consequences of a population increasingly pushed to the margins. Meanwhile, the local economy suffers from lost productivity and escalating costs tied to emergency services and social support. Root cause of homelessness in North Carolina. The root cause of the homelessness crisis in many places, including North Carolina, lies in a glaring shortage of affordable housing. Over 27,000 units of low-cost housing are desperately missing, creating a suffocating barrier for families earning less than 30% of the area median income. Without access to stable homes, these families face relentless instability that traps them in a cycle of despair. It's a harsh reality that affordable housing isn't just a roof over one's head. It's the foundation for a chance at a better life. This fundamental gap has pushed countless individuals into the streets, unable to keep pace with soaring living costs. Compounding this shortage is the rapid and relentless rise in housing expenses. Home prices have surged nearly 47%, while rents have jumped by 28%. Yet wages have barely budged in comparison. For those already struggling, this financial squeeze is unbearable. It means choosing between paying rent and buying food, or risking eviction for lack of cash. This brutal economic imbalance leaves many at the edge of losing their homes, and for those who do, the path back is steep and nearly impossible. The pressure of these skyrocketing costs is a driving force behind the growing wave of homelessness in North Carolina and beyond. The social safety net designed to catch people before they fall is painfully fragile and woefully underfunded. Essential services like mental health care and addiction treatment remain out of reach for many who desperately need them. When the system fails to provide comprehensive support, people with untreated mental illnesses or substance dependencies slip through the cracks, without access to proper care and intervention. These vulnerable individuals face compounded challenges that perpetuate their homelessness. The absence of a strong support system doesn't just allow homelessness to persist, it actively worsens it. Other social issues also play a significant role in the tangled web of homelessness. Unaddressed mental health conditions and domestic violence leave many exposed and vulnerable. Trauma from abuse or untreated psychiatric disorders often underlies the loss of housing stability. Far too often, the system's inability to intervene early results in these crises spiraling out of control. These deeper social problems are not just side effects, but core contributors to the homelessness epidemic, demanding urgent attention beyond just housing policies. It's important to clarify that substance abuse is rarely the root cause of homelessness, but rather a consequence of the hardships faced. Many individuals turn to drugs or alcohol as a coping mechanism to numb the pain of losing their home and the hope that came with it. This distinction is critical because it shifts the focus from blaming addiction to understanding it as a symptom of a much larger crisis. Recognizing this helps in crafting solutions that address the human behind the addiction, rather than simply penalizing the behavior. Once addiction sets in, it creates a vicious cycle that is nearly impossible to escape. The negative impacts of substance abuse deepen the challenges homeless individuals face, from deteriorating health to reduced opportunities for employment or housing. The spiral of addiction reinforces homelessness, making it harder for people to regain stability. Without robust treatment options and social support, many remain trapped in this loop, highlighting the urgent need for integrated care solutions. These complex causes intertwine to fuel the homelessness crisis, making simple fixes ineffective. Understanding the layers beneath the surface is essential to address the issue holistically. As we move forward, it's critical to examine the role government efforts play in tackling these challenges. What policies have been implemented, and where do they fall short? This leads us to the next crucial topic: government efforts and limitations. Major causes of homelessness. The government has made several efforts to address the growing homelessness crisis, especially after the devastation caused by Hurricane Helene. Federal aid and disaster relief funds were allocated to build temporary housing and repair critical infrastructure damaged by the storm. While these measures provided some immediate relief, they mostly serve as stopgap solutions rather than long-term fixes. The urgency of rebuilding often overshadows the need for sustainable planning, leaving many displaced individuals stuck in unstable living conditions. One policy aimed at helping the homeless is the implementation of client rights across 79 counties. This initiative theoretically guarantees certain protections and services for people without stable housing. However, in practice, enforcement is patchy at best, and awareness about these rights remains low among those who need them most. This gap between policy and reality severely undermines the intended impact, creating frustration and mistrust within vulnerable communities. Shelters and temporary facilities are often overwhelmed, with inadequate capacity and subpar conditions that many homeless individuals find unbearable. Overcrowding, lack of privacy, and strict rules push some to avoid these shelters altogether, forcing them to live on the streets or in unsafe encampments. This failure to provide dignified, accessible shelter highlights a critical weakness in the system meant to protect the homeless population. The crisis of homelessness in North Carolina vividly reflects these systemic shortcomings. Ultimately, current policies and resources focus heavily on reactive measures, responding to crises rather than preventing them. There is a glaring lack of strategic investment in long-term, sustainable solutions such as affordable housing development, mental health services, and job training programs. How much longer can temporary fixes hold back this growing crisis? What real steps should policymakers take to build a future where no one has to live without a home? Share your thoughts below. Your voice matters. Statewide social and economic impact. Homelessness exerts a profound and troubling impact on public services, community health, and the trust citizens place in their government. When neighborhoods become overwhelmed by visible homelessness, it not only strains the resources meant to support all residents but also erodes confidence in local authorities' ability to manage the crisis. The resulting frustration can fuel social unrest and deepen divides between communities and those in power, making effective solutions harder to implement. the burden on healthcare systems, law enforcement, schools, and social services escalates dramatically as homelessness persists. Emergency rooms become crowded with preventable cases linked to poor living conditions, while police departments are stretched thin handling calls related to encampments or public disturbances. Schools face challenges when children from unstable homes struggle academically and emotionally, further compounding social costs. These pressures divert attention and funding away from long-term investments toward constant crisis management. Ultimately, the widespread effects of homelessness undermine sustainable development and degrade overall quality of life. Cities grappling with large homeless populations often experience declining economic activity, reduced property values, and an atmosphere of insecurity that discourages investment. Without decisive action, these conditions perpetuate a cycle of decline, threatening the very fabric of communities and the future well-being of all residents. Potential and necessary solutions. Addressing homelessness requires a bold commitment to expanding affordable housing options. Building more low-cost housing and social housing units is crucial to provide stable homes for low-income families and individuals. Without significant investment in these housing solutions, the gap between supply and demand will continue to widen, leaving more people trapped on the streets or in unstable living conditions. It's not just about bricks and mortar. It's about restoring dignity and security to those who need it most. Comprehensive healthcare services must also be part of the equation, particularly mental health care and addiction treatment. Many experiencing homelessness face complex challenges that go beyond shelter, including untreated mental illness and substance dependency. A robust, accessible healthcare system that addresses these issues head-on can break destructive cycles and offer a genuine path toward recovery and reintegration into society. Ignoring these needs only perpetuates the crisis and puts unnecessary strain on emergency services. Creating real opportunities through vocational training and job programs is another pillar of lasting change. Empowering people with skills and employment options restores hope and financial independence. It's essential to connect the homeless population with tailored career pathways that suit their circumstances, helping them rebuild their lives from the ground up. Without meaningful work prospects, efforts to solve homelessness will fall short, as economic stability is a key driver for permanent housing. The legal system must also step up with stronger protections for renters and preventative measures against evictions. Too many people lose their homes due to unjust evictions or lack of legal support, pushing them into homelessness unnecessarily. Strengthening tenant rights, improving access to legal assistance, and implementing eviction prevention programs can keep vulnerable families off the streets before the crisis starts. This proactive approach safeguards community stability and reduces the human and economic costs of displacement. All these efforts demand long-term, strategic investment rather than short-term fixes. Piecemeal solutions and temporary shelters offer only fleeting relief and fail to address the root causes of homelessness. A visionary commitment is required, one that plans for sustainable change, prioritizes funding, and coordinates across government, nonprofits, and communities. As we turn to the critical role that communities and individuals play in this struggle, it becomes clear that no one can solve this alone. The path forward depends on collective action and shared responsibility. Surrounding issues: homelessness. Communities and individuals play a crucial role in addressing the homelessness crisis, acting as the backbone for meaningful change. Raising public awareness and encouraging active participation from social organizations can create a powerful ripple effect, helping to dismantle harmful stereotypes and promote empathy toward those affected. Informal support networks built through local groups, faith communities, and dedicated volunteers often fill critical gaps, providing not only immediate relief but also a sense of dignity and belonging to those struggling without shelter. However, tackling homelessness requires more than grassroots efforts. It demands unwavering political will and coordinated action across all levels of government. Transparent, well-integrated policies must prioritize long-term investments in affordable housing and comprehensive social services. This includes reforming outdated land use laws and zoning regulations to enable the development of diverse housing options that accommodate people of varying income levels. Without this systemic change, the cycle of homelessness will persist, especially in places facing growing challenges like homelessness in North Carolina, where economic and social pressures intensify the crisis. How can communities better hold political leaders accountable for delivering real solutions? What role should individuals play beyond awareness? Are we doing enough to actively support change? These questions demand honest reflection as we strive to move beyond temporary fixes toward lasting impact for those without a home. Conclusion and call to action. The homelessness crisis in North Carolina is not just a statistic, it's a human story demanding urgent attention and real solutions. While communities and volunteers play a vital role, true change hinges on political courage and sustained investment in affordable housing and social support. We all have a part to play, whether raising awareness or pushing for policy reform. What do you think is the most effective way to break the cycle of homelessness? Share your thoughts and questions in the comments below. Let's start a conversation that leads to action and hope for those who need it most.